Your UNLV Runnin' Rebels finish off San Jose State in a very nice home win. Especially after a lot of late game collapses, it was nice to see the Rebels finish the game off cleanly. Let's break it down, tell you what it means. This is the Let's Run podcast. Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to the show. I apologize for the late start. These 8 p.m. home games are pretty tough. I can't do the show live from the Thomas and Mack, so they start generally about 40 minutes after the games end. But grateful to have you here, however many of you we get. The show will also be posted on the podcast stream and on YouTube. So please, if you are here, like this channel, like my Twitter, share this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, all those good things. And let's talk about a Runnin' Rebel victory in what was a closer than desired game. I honestly, the Rebels were favored to win this game by about 12.5, and they end up only winning by, I believe, 7. Funnily enough, the Rebels actually dropped. Heading into this game, we were 127th in KenPom. We actually, with a win, UNLV was projected to win this game. I believe it was 88-75. And we ended up winning 82-75. So we actually dropped down to 135 spots, down to number 135 in KenPom. So the computers were not satisfied with this win for the Runnin' Rebels. However, I think that this was a perfectly reasonable effort. It was a UNLV team that was really, I guess I should say, it was a San Jose State team that was shooting really, really, really well in the first half. And San Jose State does this occasionally. If you look at their record on the season, it's terrible. I mean, they're 6-18, but several times throughout this year, and funnily enough, UNLV actually beat San Jose State when they played them on the road by a lot more than they did when they played them here tonight at home. But if you look at San Jose State's record, there are times, they had a 10-point loss to New Mexico. They only lost by 8 to Colorado State. There are times when they've made games a lot closer than they should have been. That's something that a Tim Miles team does decently often. And so sometimes if they're shooting well, they can keep a game close, even when you think it shouldn't be close. And that's exactly what happened tonight. Let's jump into the stats. This is going to be a shorter show tonight, as I assume we're not going to have that big of a crowd watching live, but we will post this later for everybody else to catch back up on. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So let's share our screen. Let's break down the stats and let's tell you what happened. All right. So the first half was very even. UNLV had a 4-point lead at the end of the first half. And the first half was characterized by absurd shooting. UNLV, in quarter one, so that means the first 10 minutes of the game, had a 4-point lead. And in quarter two, both teams were firing on all cylinders. San Jose State had 7 first half 3-pointers. I believe they were 7 of 14 for 50% from the 3-point line in that first half. On the season, San Jose State is not a great 3-point shooting team. They're not terrible. They shoot about 34% from the 3-point line. But some games when they get hot, they can keep a score a lot closer perhaps than you think it should be. And that's exactly what happened, especially with that first half. UNLV was having difficulties keeping up with the San Jose State players on the perimeter. And specifically navigating off-ball screens. Tim Miles, the coach of San Jose State, is a very good head coach. And he was putting his players in positions to catch the ball off the screen. Specifically, a guy that I thought was pretty important for San Jose State was Adrian Myers. And then, of course, it was Jafet Mupadele, my mistake on his pronunciation. He's kind of a big man, 6'8". Hasn't really hit very many threes all year, and in the first half, he hit 3 3-pointers. So he matched his season total in one half of play. And that opened up San Jose State's offense considerably. Josh Pastner adjusted his game plan and took out guys like Howie Fleming barely played in this game. Jacob Benarby played in the first half, almost played. I don't think he played in the second half. Emmanuel Steffen played quite a bit in the first half, I believe, in the game. Emmanuel Steffen only finished with 15 minutes, and I think most of that, if not all of that, was in the first half. And so that tells you that UNLV decided to go a lot smaller to try and stop San Jose State's 3-point shooting barrage, and that worked to a degree. San Jose State in the first half was 7 of 14. In the second half, they were 4 of 10. So they still shot really well, but not as many shots. Where San Jose State really struggled, and the reason why UNLV was able to win this game was inside the paint. San Jose State shot 13 of 39 on 2-point attempts. And a big reason as to why San Jose State was struggling so much at the rim was the presence of Tyron Jones and Kamani Hamilton, who actually had, and I guess we'll shout out the individual players a bit more later. Ismael Hernandez says Tyron Jones is the man. We are a totally different team when he plays. Yeah, this is the adjustment that Josh Pastner made. I believe heading into this game, this was Tyron and Howie Fleming's first game back. And Tyron was not expected to play a lot of this game. It was kind of a break glass in case of emergency. He's not completely healthy yet. But Coach Pastner recognized that we needed to have a bit more of a dynamic and fast offense and more rim protection. I mean, bless Jacob Anarbi, not a great rim protector. He does okay if you can keep him on the ground, but he doesn't always do good at altering shots. And Emmanuel Steffen is just struggling at basically every facet of the game right now. And so he put Tyron Jones in, and Tyron Jones responded. Tyron Jones is an outstanding shot blocker, and he's really good at altering shots at the rim to make them more difficult. And so Tyron was really a standout element of tonight's game. Janet Kelly, my mom, I was so proud of Walter. Shout out to him. Yeah, Walter has really been, and Coach Pastner talked about this in his post game presser. He said, Walter, I should have probably played Walter more at the beginning of the year, and I agree with that. I think that Walter probably is just too. He's not perfect. He misses shots. He's not a great 3-point shooter on the season, and he doesn't always do a lot when he's on the floor. He's not a flashy player, but Walter is certainly the type of guy that can just make the right play when he gets the opportunity. He's not always good at putting himself in the right place, but when he does get the opportunity, Walter often makes the right play. And so, yeah, I was really happy with Walter tonight, and we'll talk about his game-winning game. He basically Walter put the nail in the coffin of this one, which was really fun to see Walter Brown, and it was a good, nice shot too. We'll talk about it more in a minute. Vegas Guitar says, and good to see you, brother. Rebounding and ball movement was much better tonight. Yeah, I thought that the offense was a lot more crisp tonight. The decision making. Now, some of this is because San Jose State is just a terrible. I actually don't. Are they terrible? I guess I don't want to see. Yeah, San Jose State's an awful defense, and when UNLV is playing awful defenses, often they move better off ball. They can navigate screens better. San Jose State is the type of team that you can score 130 points against. And UNLV, obviously, they only end the game scoring 82, but it was a very efficient offensive night for the Rebels. Looking at the box score, I guess let's just go through the stats and talk about the individual players, and then we'll break down some overall thoughts here. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, I guess for the San Jose State players, they had a couple of guys with 23 and 21 points. I think Colby Garland, who's a junior, is a very good player for San Jose State. Him, Garland, and Goodarzi were definitely the leaders. But they had 23 and 21 points respectively. Especially Posh Goodarzi, really outstanding shooter, made some tough movement shots, and San Jose State's best players showed up to play for sure. The guy that struggled for them was Adrian Myers, and really that San Jose State team just did not have a lot of depth. They only played it looks like 7 guys tonight, and so that's a tough program. You wish Coach Tim Miles, who's a very good coach, the best of luck, but he cannot get that program off the ground. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn played all 40 minutes tonight. Coach Pastner talked a lot in his post-game presser about Dre's conditioning, and this is something that you absolutely have to give Dre just a ton of credit for. He's played 40 minutes, I think, the last 3 games. Maybe he had like a 35-minute game at one point because he fouled out in the Fresno State game. But Dre has just been outstanding. Not a super loud second half. A lot of his damage happened in the first half. But Dre was awesome tonight. 5 assists, 1 turnover, had 4 rebounds, 3 steals. I really thought that Dre, if UNLV was a better team, Dre would have a possibility of being a first team player in this conference. As it is right now, he might even, honestly, just because UNLV is so far back, Dre might not even be a second team player at this point, unless UNLV can go on a serious streak to end conference play. But Dre is such a good player and deserves so much more credit than he can get, just being on a team that doesn't win enough. Dre's amazing. I really shout outs to him. I'll talk about Kamani at the end, but Walter Brown, his stat line doesn't look that great. He played 35 minutes though, had 3 fouls, finishes with 5 points. He made 2 baskets, both kind of shots. One was kind of a layup and then a kind of a putback. And then one was obviously basically the game ender. Only 1 of 2 from the free throw line, finishes with 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover. Did have 2 blocks. Walter Brown with 2 blocks is pretty crazy. And obviously Walter, as the game, UNLV's up by 5. We ended up, because teams, San Jose State was denying Dre Gibbs Lawhorn off ball so much that, everybody else was basically, San Jose State was basically just saying, we're not going to let Dre beat us. Let's have these other guys beat us. And to varying levels of success, the other guys did okay at some points and not so okay at other points. Walter Brown, 0 of 4 from 3. You just wish he could have hit one of those. Same with Isaac Williamson, 0 of 4 from 3. I thought Isaac Williamson had a good game attacking the rim, but we just need a couple of those threes to drop for one of those 2 guys. Even if both of them had just made 1 of 4, it would have made a huge difference in our offense. But Walter Brown and Isaac Williamson both finished with 6 rebounds. Isaac did have a couple of dumb turnovers, but I thought Isaac was fine tonight. Not great, but fine. Emmanuel Steffen, like we mentioned, 3 points, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. He just isn't strong enough with the ball right now. He did have 3 blocks, so I'll give Emmanuel Steffen some credit on the defensive end, but no assists and 1 turnover. Emmanuel Steffen just I don't feel like he moves confidently. And he doesn't seem to have control of his body, which he's only been playing basketball for 6 years. But hopefully Emmanuel Steffen, he's I believe he has 4 years of eligibility remaining, I think. But he's a sophomore as of right now, from what I can see. Just has a way to go. I hope he can grow into his body a little bit because Emmanuel Steffen has the talent. He did have 7 rebounds in only 15 minutes, which was pretty solid. Then obviously we have to talk about Tyron Jones, who just changed the game completely with his defense. He had 3 blocks tonight, 1 turnover, no assists, but he did finish with 13 points, went 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 6 of 8, had a couple of thunderous dunks, including a very nice baseline cut. I thought Tyron Jones changed the complexion of the game completely. For a guy that wasn't supposed to probably even play that much, to play 24 minutes and to have as much, he just makes this team so much more fun when he plays. Tyron is just a fun athlete. I hope we can keep him around because even, this team's 12-12, but there are a couple of guys, Dre and Tyron specifically, that are just so electric on the floor that it makes this team quite fun to watch. And so credit to Tyron. I thought he was outstanding tonight. Really, really, really happy for him to be back because this team sorely needed him. Al Green, not a good game from Al Green. 2 points, did hit I believe it was a floater or a shot at the rim. Missed the only 3 he took. We just need Al Green to be a volume shooter, and he hasn't been able to take enough shots. Had 1 offensive rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, so not a lot from Al Green tonight. Howie Fleming only played 5 minutes. He's obviously dealing with an injury. A bit odd that he played at all. Again, Jacob Bernard only 5 minutes, and then Nas Cunningham went in for he had 1 turnover and a foul, and that was it. He played at the beginning of the game. UNLV scores 1.21 points per possession, which is outstanding offensively. They were 60% inside the arc, struggled a little bit in the second half, finishing at the rim, but a good offensive game. Only end up shooting 31% from 3. That is why this game was close when it probably shouldn't have been. UNLV shot 31% from 3 and made 7 threes. San Jose State shot 11 of 24 from threes, making 45% of theirs, especially in the first half. UNLV out-rebounds San Jose State 33-24, so by 9, a solid rebounding effort. UNLV 16 assists to 9 turnovers, 7 blocks, 4 steals, and 14 personal fouls. Lastly, and I want to talk about the fouling today because this was a game with 30 fouls called, which is less than half of the amount that were called in that debauchery of a Fresno State game last week. It was nice to see the Rebels play a more controlled style of defense. Now, part of this, guys, you have to realize is San Jose State just being a terrible, terrible. Like honestly, there's not a good. They've got good players for sure, but they're just not a good team, to be honest. And so some of this is the opponent that we're going up against and the way that that opponent plays. But UNLV was a not outrageous fouling team tonight. And for a team that has struggled as much with their discipline, with fouling guys, especially a long way away from the basket, I think that it's nice to see UNLV having a game where they control themselves. And from there, we have to talk about Kamani Hamilton, who was the story of this game. As much as I love Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, the best player on this team has to be Kamani Hamilton. Dre's amazing, and I'm not saying obviously it's great if Dre's the best player on this team because he is the best player on this team. He's been better than Kamani, but Kamani tonight played perhaps his finest game as a running Rebel. I thought defensively he was solid tonight, not great. He made some mistakes, and some of this was him, just trying not to foul out of the game, trying to stay in the game. And honestly, if it takes Kamani not playing as hard on defense just to stay in the game, I think some of that trade out is worth it just because of the foul issues. He did still have 3 personal fouls tonight, but that's a reasonable number of fouls. Kamani finishes the game with 23 points, only 5 attempts inside the arc. I would like, again, I want to see Kamani shoot more. I want to see him attack the rim and finish at the rim. But he finishes with 3 of 5 from inside the 3-point arc. He made 3 first half 3-pointers, which was very nice. Outstanding from the free throw line tonight, 8 of 9. He also, I have complained about Kamani Hamilton not being a guy that gets a rebound this entire season. And tonight he finally delivered a double-double performance, the type of performance that I feel like we should have been seeing from him all season. He was great tonight. 10 rebounds, 4 assists to only 1 turnover, and 3 personal fouls. So, I'm pleased with the performance tonight. I really liked the Rebels ran the same action a lot. They ran a horn set quite a few times, and it worked. It worked really well against San Jose State, and they've been doing this action a lot throughout the year. But essentially, it's 2 guys coming up to the top of the key. They set cross screens from each other. Basically, what you're trying to do is get Dre Gibbs Lawhorn coming off of a down screen. So he's coming up from the bottom of the key up to the 3-point line, moving in space. It's a nice action that the Rebels have been running to varying degrees of success on the season. I thought tonight, like you guys mentioned, their offensive rhythm was a lot better. A couple more comments here. Justin Salazar says, nobody fouled out. How about that? Maybe defending without fouling is finally sinking in. Yeah, I think some of that, again, is the opponents. Like we were playing a worse opponent than we're used to playing. And yeah, this is a great comment by my mom. Appreciate you, Mom. The refs were not the story tonight. UNLV was able to control a game. And look, it was closer than we would have liked for sure. But UNLV put itself in a position that refs couldn't take the game away from them by just not committing obvious fouls, especially obvious fouls 45 feet away from the basket. So listen, this is a good win. It's a confidence builder, especially on the offensive end. They've got some things to figure out on defense. Looking ahead for the running Rebels, this show is going to be relatively brief tonight. I hope you guys are okay with that. UNLV plays Boise State up in Boise, Idaho this Friday. So it's a short turnaround. That Boise State team is going to be certainly itching for revenge against the running Rebels. Again, in front of a probably decent home crowd. Right now, Ken Palm has that game as a 83-72 victory for the Broncos. UNLV obviously beat Boise State in overtime earlier in the season. Boise State is playing better than they were playing when they played UNLV. I think this is going to be pretty tough for the Rebels to win. They can, of course, especially if Tyron can play for the entire game, if he can be healthy. And if Kamani can play like he played tonight. Noah says Kamani playing calm and controlled set the tone for the rest of the team, to be honest. Absolutely. I mean, Kamani is, I'm telling you, this team, the best version of this Run 'Em Rebel basketball team is one with Kamani Hamilton being the best player. And tonight he was the best player. I actually thought he was better than Dre tonight. And Dre was outstanding. But Kamani Hamilton setting that tone, the senior leader, the guy that I believe is the highest paid player on the team, not not confirming that. It's just that's my belief about the way that the money's being distributed. Kamani Hamilton's got to be good, and tonight he was good, and so I want to credit him. And like Ismail says, like, let's go win that game in Boise. I totally agree. They can go win that game in Boise. Boise's going to be out for blood. They need the game. It would basically kind of end their season if UNLV beat them. So it'll be a good crowd, which means the Rebels will probably play a bit better than they normally would. Boy, oh boy, this Run and Rebel team needs a crowd. And tonight it was nice to see them celebrated by the Run and Rebel faithful. But guys, let me know your thoughts. Shoot me a DM. I will be live after that Boise State game. The road games are nicer in terms of the live streams because I can go live right when they end. But let me know your thoughts. Shoot me a DM. Let's talk Run and Rebel hoops. There's going to be lots of content coming up about North Dakota State joining the Mountain West and all of the offseason stuff with football. And then, of course, as the Run and Rebel basketball season is kind of nearing its end, we will kind of project what the program, the state of the program, and we'll talk about. Hopefully, I really want this team to make it out of the quarterfinal. If they can just make a semifinal game in the Mountain West Conference tournament, that would be such a breath of fresh air for a program that has struggled like ours has. And so putting ourselves in the best possible position to do that means that the Rebels probably can only lose one or two more games. They have a couple of tough games. They still have to play at Boise, obviously. They still have to play at they do not play at New Mexico, I don't think. I forgot they don't play at New Mexico. That sucks. New Mexico would be a fun place to play. But UNLV still has to play at New Mexico. They still have to play at San Diego State. They still have to play at Utah State. Can you end this season, 12-8 at worst of the 20 conference games? That'd be a nice record. I would appreciate that. And I guess we'll see if they can. So guys, let me know your thoughts. I appreciate you guys all for checking out the show tonight. Thank you for staying up late with me. We will be live on Friday. Have a good night and let's run.